So why did you guys decide to make this documentary?
Shall I take this?
Yeah, please.
To give everyone who supported us so far sort of transparent insight into what it's been like for us, the behind the scenes.
And also to tell the story for people who, who don't know about us, and sort of to sort of represent the values that we've stood for since the start.
Which we haven't been able to communicate at certain points, perhaps.
Yeah. Of course, to many people, we'll just be a trailer on campus, but there's a lot more behind it, and we thought this documentary would be a good opportunity to showcase represent what, the struggles, the highs, the lows, and everything that we've been through.
When I first had the idea, I approached Rupert with the idea, and his energy towards the concept of UniFried Nosh was amazing. I was like, right, it's going to be me and Rupert, this is what we're going to do, and then slowly a team started coming together.
We were just in the house, and I just remember seeing Dan. He was telling me, bro, I've got this amazing idea, and I was thinking, because usually when he's got ideas, I just know we're gonna be moving around, and I just know I'm not gonna be able to be lazy. So I was really kind of scared, and the next year I had to go to Germany as well for my year abroad. So I was anxiety levels were kicking quite high. Yeah.
UniFried Nosh. We actually spent quite a while coming up with a name for our business. Though I say business, is actually more of a brand that we're trying to create, a brand that is unique to Union Knights, but also appeals to and serves the wider student community.
I remember Tay knowing that, okay, he needed a team because he had all these ideas, all the plans, these vision and the roadmap, and we used to be reading a lot of motivational quotes, a lot of everything that's like, yeah, you can do it, you're the best, it's all in the brain and stuff like that. We're thinking, yeah, okay.
So I was involved with UniFried Nosh from the get-go, when it was originally just an idea of Tay and Rupert's. And the first thing that we did was we had to do these sort of promotional videos. That was when we had a different uniform. I remember actually we had to go to Harris Garden on campus, and we were filming for ages and ages because there was so many outtakes, and we couldn't really get all our message across, and we were only filming on mobile phones. We didn't have any sort of professional setup or professional gear.
The key, the idea, the perfect idea, so he knew, and I just trusted him. And I remember it was that summer I had to leave. It was just really interesting to see how his idea that made a lot of sense was actually going from the idea stage to actually being something that was coming into existence.
Around early to mid 2018 when I first properly started getting involved with UniFried Nosh, and many of you probably will remember the World Cup was on around that sort of time, around June, which is when we had quite a bit on. So we had a barbecue where we were testing suppliers, and my memory of that day was waking up late, and I missed the England-Panama game because my phone was dead, my alarm didn't go off, so I was in a panic. I had to watch the England game in isolation, and then I headed round to the barbecue. And yeah, it was great. I mean, everyone was very confident in the idea. We had a great sort of team around us. The morale and the camaraderie was brilliant. And it's almost like, it was blissful naivety. So in summer, we acquired a storage unit for the trailer. We were back and forth doing maintenance on it. We even basically painted the entire thing, spent hours and hours painting it. Only for a couple months down the line, us to find a more convenient place to store the trailer. So, I mean, whoever got that storage unit next, there's a decent paint job on it thanks to myself and Tay, basically. But we were definitely feeling excited, and we felt like it was a very promising time. We just wanted to get the operation up and running. Yeah, we were behind schedule a bit, but we wanted to just keep going and just get the operation up and running.
Coming from my Belgian background, it was really, we have a kind of a different mentality. So if we want to do business, the mentality over there is more when you're 35, you're done your career, you kind of know everything about your industry in a way, so then you can launch something. And here in the UK, the mentality is completely different. People, they're hungry in a way, if it makes sense. So they just want results, and they know that for results they need the work. But I still couldn't conceive how he would go from the idea to actually having a physical thing.
Nothing could have really prepared us for the year ahead, starting with the delayed launch.
There on the initial launch night, I remember there was all anticipation. Tay and Rupert were running around like a bunch of mad things, and they asked me, can I come down, because I had my food hygiene and things like that, so I'd come down, and obviously I wanted to support the guys, but you know, no matter how much experience I had, I don't think I was expecting the sheer like volume and just mania that was the launch night. Like, all credit to Rupert and Tay, like, there's only so much planning you can do when you're trying to serve, 400 people, 500 people in, a half an hour window on the first night, when, none of you have ever worked in that sort of production line before, and all the equipment's new. It was really good, the launch night, and I was only supposed to be there till 2:00, and there was still a massive queue of people wanting their food, and Rupert and Tay were just like, Ed, you need to stay, mate, you need to stay, you can't leave. And I was like, all right, cool, yeah.
We spent months planning the concept of having a food option on campus, dealing with the different barriers and sort of coming up with solutions, and it was like months and months of just ticking boxes and boxes. Sort of our whole focus was just getting through. Motivation was just literally just to get to launch week, and then finally we arrived at launch week. It had just gone 4 a.m. in the morning. It was freezing cold outside. It was literally 2 minutes from our storage unit, and the trailer, the serving hatch, it wasn't screwed in properly, and it just flies out on a main road and smashed against the lamppost. The back wall cracked, plug sockets ripped out, and we had to chain the hatch to a lamppost. And of course we couldn't leave the trailer unattended, so we had to sleep in the car, and then that was our first week in business, and we had to close for 3 weeks. Christmas.
I think it's fair to say Santa left no presents under the trailer for us.
No, there was none. I checked. So we got to Christmas and things weren't going to plan. The company was financially sinking. Half of our team had left, and my business partner at the time, he stepped down as director because he had other responsibilities, and things just weren't going our way. So we both spent our Christmas holidays working to secure the finance to restart for January, and I was also trying to secure us another pitch so that we could have more income coming in.
So Happy New Year. We
Yeah.
started into the new year, 2019.
We opened for refreshers.
And things were kind of looking up. We were rushing around on the relaunch day, trying to get everything ready, just us two, like spent basically, must have been like 15, 16 hours just like running around trying to get everything sorted, all until we closed that night. Things were looking promising despite the Christmas period and everything, and we sort of thought, yeah, you know what, it's sort of it's looking promising going forward.
After finally securing a contract at the start of January, I decided to terminate the contract.
And it's fair to say I thought it was mental for doing that, basically. Bear in mind, quite a lot of our problems may have been solved or eased at least with another source of income. When Tay rejected the contract, it was the long-term goals and vision that he had in mind. So once he explained that to me, I did kind of understand, because obviously UniFried Nosh, we want to be focusing on the university campus. That is our number one priority, is the students, the student community, and University of Reading. Yeah, I definitely, once you explained it, it was when you first told me, it was like, yeah, now I've turned it down. And I was sort of looking at him like, are you alright, Tay? Like,
he did actually say that. So one of our core values of democracy, it sort of runs all the way through the company. It's not just sort of when we put polls out asking customers what they want when we're trying to establish pain points. It's also internal too, within the company. Sort of when we have team meetings and stuff, if we're about to, for instance, where we've been offered to do other events, occupy other sort of retail spaces, before actually making a decision, like we've turned down quite a few opportunities in the past because we felt like they contradicted our brand values. Of course, UniFried Nosh is a university brand. For us to then go off and open in a shopping centre or on a building site, I feel like although it would have helped the financial position of the company, in the long term we would have lost anyway.
You know what you're thinking? Aren't the queues going to be massive? Well, we've got the answer. We are currently developing one of our most unique features, our app, which will enable you to pre-order your nosh. All you have to do is go on the app, order your food, and make your way down to the fast track queue with your collection number, and we'll do the rest. Our app will be available soon on Android and Apple.
And on January the 23rd, we launched our app, which was basically the whole impetus behind creating an app was so that students wouldn't have to queue for their food. They could pre-order or select a delivery option and come straight to our collection point and then get the food and go straight home.
And you saw it as definitely a means of improving the student experience.
To speed up the process, also reduce the risk of safety, because the faster the students get their food, they can actually go straight home. And it also innovate the whole process, so there was no sort of waiting in a queue for 25 to 30 minutes and having to wait for their food too. We just sort of speeding things up and enabling other students to use our service too, because there's not a big queue of like 100 people. After we launched that, we'd been open for refreshers. On our third night, we had electricity issues. The switchboard blew, and once again, we was closed for another week.
Sort of yet another blip to add to the long list, I suppose. And yeah, it was kind of at a point where there was a bit of, I don't know, morale was down. Like the app definitely lifted spirits, but still it was a case of just making it one night to the next, and it all being a bit up in the air as to whether we continue with. And
so we solved the problem. We was back open by the next weekend.
Well, it's a nice way to get food without having to worry about venturing off campus in the middle of the night, which was always a bit worrying, I remember in my first year. So it's quite nice to have this so close and then just pop home, and that's the only thing you have to worry about.
We're approaching the end of second term and we decided, right, we want to give back to the student community.
Because ultimately, without their support, where would we be really? You know, without them, it's just our team in a trailer, basically.
True.
So we kind of wanted to give back to the student community for their continued support and love for the
feedback we constantly received.
Exactly. So we decided we're going to give out some free cheesy chips or chips, whichever they fancy,
prefer, really.
Yeah.
If you don't want some dead sprinkled cheese, get them melted. Goodness, that's all I can say.
These are the best cheesy chips in the whole of the ding.
These cheesy chips are the best thing I've ever tasted.
I love cheesy chips!
Definitely, that's what drove us through the year, was sort of the impact we had on the student community, and then to sort of see it all tangible in front of us on the Instagram posts and feedback from the students was a great feeling, really.
We put out a poll to our customers asking them if they feel safer having us there on campus with them, and 98% of people responded saying that they did feel safer having us there, which as a business feels great to know that you are actually making a difference.
There were definitely points where it seemed like it was game over and that was the end of the vision, and it was hard because keeping myself motivated was one thing, and then keeping a team around me and believing in the vision, and with the amount of challenges and problems that were occurring, it was tough. In the first year, a lot of the sort of incidents and the accidents that happened, it was quite tough, because I mean, pushing forward, like bearing in mind I've never ran a business before. Actually, I studied construction, not business. Having to learn so much from the ground up, and the amount of challenges we faced, there was times where it was quite detrimental to my mental health. I was struggling. Of course, I have ADHD too, so like my brain's always going at 1,000 miles an hour. And even just trying to sit still right here, right now, and record this, I tell you what, it's been more tougher than any challenge I've had to face so far.
So it came to the end of the year, and obviously that gave us some time to reflect on the roller coaster of a year that we had. And I think the main feeling that we felt at the end was a sense of togetherness with the student community.
That was the sort of the thing that makes UniFried Nosh what it is. If you was to take the business apart, all the different pieces from our logo to our name to everything we do, our values, a different student has had their input in sort of creating UniFried Nosh and making it what it is today.
We felt that the least we could do is communicate what we're doing to our customers and live up to our core value of being transparent, hence this documentary. And it's a good opportunity for us to show people what we're doing behind the scenes.
So this summer, of course, after last summer where we were sort of trying to put a promotion video together, where we should have been focused on other things, we had a meeting about sort of how we should brand the trailer, whether or not we should have our values printed across, and we was going to propose that, asking students how they think we should design the trailer. And it got to the point where we if you look at the trailer now, it's actually still a black box, and that's because we decided that we'd actually rather live by our values and actually act upon them, instead of just painting the trailer with community, transparency, value, but then nothing's changing. So yeah, we redirected our energy for the second year.
UniFried Nosh is amazing, especially after night out. It's cheaper than Mackie D's. Only thing is that it's amazing, but it's kind of a little bit slow. But what can I say? I love it. So
I'd say one of the most difficult parts of sort of running UniFried Nosh is the fact that how satisfied and happy students are with our service is determined by how fast we can serve them at 2 o'clock in the morning. Bearing in mind, they've spent all night, well not all night, probably like 45 minutes to an hour trying to queue to get into the club. They come out of the club, then they then have to get into another queue just to get food from us. I mean, it's really frustrating for them. Sometimes it can be frustrating for us. So yeah, I'd say that's one of the most challenging parts, the fact that how fast we can serve them will sort of determine the satisfaction level. After our first year, I felt like it was a case of a little less conversation, a little more action, please. I felt like we needed to stop talking, and that's why our social media posts and stuff were a lot less frequent. We weren't really saying much. We didn't have much to say. We was literally just focusing on what we said we was going to achieve, and that was sort of production speed and student satisfaction. And I feel like we have a long way to go, but I think we're making great progress, and that's one of the main reasons why we put this documentary together, to sort of give everyone the behind the scenes sort of insight into what it's actually been like, and all the sort of pain points and the thing that are really smart. I can't say that, can I? It's alright to keep going. Transparency. All the different times in the first show where sort of people had been pissed off by stuff that happened. We wanted to actually tell the story now, as opposed to back then we couldn't pause and be like, hold on a second, the trailer hatch flew off and it's crashed to pieces. This is our first week in business, because that shows incompetency, doesn't it? We've only been open 5 minutes and we didn't even screw the hatch in, and we're closed for 3 weeks. So yeah.
Since I started with UniFried Nosh, we've been placing an emphasis on getting out into the field and actually getting out and doing the operation itself. And that's come up with one of our biggest problems, which has been coping with the high demand that we see after hours, after a union night, especially with the crowd and the situation. In order to deal with this, we've had to have some pretty good innovations and some pretty quick innovations. So the main things we've done to encourage this is, firstly, we train all our staff across all areas. We want everyone to just be ready to be able to jump into any role. And then as a result of that, we're also trying to encourage people to constantly be thinking and adapting to the situations, trying to come up with ways we could possibly streamline any of our processes and make them quicker. We have a pretty good open discourse of everyone just chatting about ways we could speed things up. So another innovation we've adopted is the 2 holding cabinet system, which is where we have 1 holding cabinet for burgers and 1 for chips. And that means that during our peak times we can stockpile food 5-10 minutes before, and make sure that we can deal with the crowd as they come in, keep up the new inflow of more food, and make sure that people get their food as quickly as possible and are happy as possible.
I mean, but when I put it all into perspective, the amount of responsibility that I've sort of had to carry throughout the first year, it's really helped me to grow up, because of course I've had to hold myself accountable for everything that happens, and no sort of playing the blame game, whether it's student satisfaction, gas safety, electric safety, how happy our team members are, paying staff wages on time, and adhering to licence conditions, everything sort of, there is no playing the blame game, and it's sort of, it all come at once, having never ran a business before and never done anything similar before. I had to learn a lot very fast, and there's definitely a lot of things we got wrong. I felt like we were trying to build a house, but we started at the roof instead of at the foundation, and that's what sort of introduced the value of transparency and putting polls out to sort of ask students what they want instead of what we actually thought they wanted. Yeah, I'd say one of the most fulfilling parts for me of UniFried Nosh so far is like to be able to get to 3:30 in the morning, 4 o'clock, and have new team members and old team members say that they actually enjoyed themselves working at UniFried Nosh and providing service to other students. Bearing in mind they've probably got lectures at 9 o'clock in the morning. For me, that's a sign that, you know, we're definitely doing something right and we're on the right path. In our first year, everyone sort of understood it was a new venture and stuff was going to go wrong and whatnot. But then as we approached in second year, especially with taking on new team members, I felt like there wasn't much, we couldn't afford to make much mistakes, which kind of made it tricky for me, because I felt like for our new team members, they had to sort of make mistakes. That was the fastest way for them to learn. But I'd say what really worked is when I took a step back and I sort of left everyone to work together in the trailer. I actually ended up learning quite a bit from our team as opposed to the other way around.
So I got my first shift with UniFried Nosh when my friend Ed came to me telling me that they were understaffed one night. And since he lives with me, I already knew a bit about what might go down during the night and the kind of people that work there as well. I already knew some of them beforehand. So I was totally up for doing the shift that night. Although I had some expectations to what might be going on, I didn't have necessarily much experience at all. So when I found that I arrived, it I had plenty of time essentially to find my feet and start using some of the equipment, and while Tay was showing me around and what I might be doing, sort of thing. One of the things I first realised when I came to work at UniFried Nosh was that it's as much about serving the customers as it is putting forward a good message to them, making them feel welcomed and like they'll want to come back again. It's all about the community and social aspect of it just as much.
No, I must say, I've from the early stages, but all the way through to now, I've definitely enjoyed working with every single person who's helped create sort of UniFried Nosh and execute the vision, and whether it's being the student community, members of the University of Reading, the Students' Union, our team, everyone has sort of played their part in sort of the creation of UniFried Nosh and the ongoing progress, really. I could never sit here and actually take full responsibility or sort of credit for all the work. Everyone has played their part, definitely.
Instead of having to go to, I'm not gonna say names, but those famous chicken places.
Which is great to hear as a business that you're actually making a difference, and that, you're. Yeah, I do.
What's your favourite thing about cheesy crepes?
Guys, can I have chips, please?
Just the drippy, just the cheese on them. What else can I say?
That was quite a big blow.
Yeah.
At the time, just getting started up, all excited, and then
the excitement was out the window, and so was that.
The excitement was. I don't think I can mention that. I was trying so hard. I was like, right, hold it, Will, hold it. Okay, breathe in.
You can do this.
Meditation, that's right.